What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Gears of War E-Day. We got a couple different interviews by IGN that I just want to kind of go over. As the day has gone on, from yesterday, although it was just like a cinematic trailer, and although they kind of fired back at that, right? That was actually a big thing, even with Jeff Keighley. Like, this is in Unreal Engine 5. It's about as real as you can imagine it being. I actually saw, I think maybe it was a former developer getting seemingly very, very mad at Jeff Keighley for just describing it as a CG thing. So you know what? I won't describe it as that. The game looked good. If that was the game, if that wasn't the game, regardless, it looked great. And again, a couple interviews with IGN, one of which kind of talking about why they did it in general and talking about that actually the story in the future for Gears of War is not over, and they're not abandoning those stories. So I do find that interesting that they chose to go back not just to, the kind of prime trilogy, but to an absolute prequel, of it versus doing a Gears of War 6 when you leave 5 open to doing a 6, right? So they don't flat out say like they're going to continue and make a 6, but they do talk about that 4 and 5, like that actually happened. They're sticking with it. They're not like backtracking from the stories told there. So I just kind of found that interesting. And hey, maybe it's because, while I actually haven't played them, I've been pretty open with that on all my channels. I've actually played Gears 1, 2, and 3 on my third channel, Back to the Past, and I love them. I think it's a fantastic series. I know that 4 and 5 got a lot more hate, right? So there's kind of conspiracy theory in me that maybe that's the reason why they went back and they said, you know what? And this actually goes to a Phil Spencer interview. He talked about how this is, the team that's at the Coalition making it right now is not necessarily the team that, say, made Gears 1 through 3 or even, future games, right? So he said that this is a good opportunity for them to kind of establish a story. I think it's that mixed with, if you can tell a really good story with Marcus, and then also Dom, this tag team, right? They really became such a staple of Gears 1 through 3. If you can do that in a prequel, I think you can win over pretty much anybody that you might have lost in 4 and 5. So, I don't think it's a bad idea. Again, that's why I kind of wanted to start it off the way I did. It stood out to me from that trailer. It stood out to me 24 hours later. It was maybe one of the better things they showed, and I think it's got huge, absolutely massive potential. They're known for the visuals and all that stuff, but you think about the prime of Gears of War, if they can capture that, and again, do a prequel, and it really goes actually into yet another interview they did with IGN. This is going to be like a scary one. They talk about horror. In fact, I think the IGN article says, promise return to horror from the original games, and they basically talk about how when they think about what made the first game special, or really any of the games, they ask fans and all that stuff, and they thought, what was the big thing. They talk about kind of that visceral fear that you see, from the Locust, and if you can tell that story from day one when nobody had a clue what was going on, right? Like, this is the first couple days. I think they did say that it takes place over just a few days, so it's going to be like they come out of the ground, they attack the city, they kill and that's it. And I think that can be massively impactful for, emotion and just the scariness vibes of it. Now, how scared will Marcus be? I'm not 100% sure, even Dom, but I think the world will be scared, right? And I think that could be really cool. So years away from what I've seen, I don't think they promised anything, and even in the trailer, they weren't. I think it's like a 2026 at the very earliest type game, but it's sounding good, honestly. Like, that horror vibe sounds pretty awesome to me. Again, they're so good with the technology, and they help pretty much every other studio that Xbox has. So they're very, very talented, and I think they got something very special. Dom and Marcus's relationship to each other, that was very special, and in my opinion, it kind of carried Gears of War 3 almost entirely. So I think it can be a really good story, if they kind of lean into that and then that horror kind of vibe. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.